I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
If one wishes to be a teacher of Rudy's work, what steps should they take and how should they proceed?
First, warn them against it. Secondly, look, you don't want to be a teacher of this work. You grow in yourself, you develop inside yourself, you build strong connection with spirit. You organically understand what it means to serve in the world, keep your heart open, to have gratitude. And eventually, your inner life will lead you to the place where you will be a teacher. But wanting it in your head is just, it's not a good path, because then it becomes a lot of ego, having a position, having a, this, that. But organic inner growth. I mean, look, I can only talk from my own experience. What I did as a student of Rudy's, and it was endless, endless things, to help him, to do for him, I basically literally gave up my life. He told me, I told you the story. He told me one day, I want to move to the Middle East. Are your bags packed? Are you ready to come with me? I never thought, no, I'm not coming with him. I knew profoundly that this man, what he had to teach me was essential for my life. And I was going to do whatever it takes to get it. And, that's how you become a teacher. It's not a thing. I had somebody, I don't know, a year or two ago, I want to be a teacher of your work. And I said, forget about it, because it's all in your head. You will become a teacher because you do what you have to do to get there. And I never thought about being a teacher of Rudy's work. One day I'm sitting at a poker game with him in Big Indian, at his ashram in Big Indian. We're playing poker before class. Rudy used to really like poker. And, I pick up my cards and suddenly I get an elbow in my rib. How would you like to teach the class today? I mean, I was made a guru at a poker game. You think I was sitting there looking at my cards thinking that I want to be a teacher of Rudy's work? And I looked at him and I smiled and I said, you always do this to me. And he said, go take a shower. And I went down in a room. There must have been 60 people sitting in the room waiting for Rudy. And I sat down. But it was really something. So you don't want to be a teacher. You become a teacher because of the way you live your life, how deeply you surrender, what you're willing to do to attain that position, or not even thinking about it, what you're willing to do to be in service to God. And then you just organically teach. And you don't walk around with some sign on your chest, I am a Kundalini yoga teacher, I mean, I've met people like that. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. I am a Kundalini yoga teacher. I am sitting on an ivory throne here and, you know, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to live your life. It happens organically, and then it's real. I remember Rudy about teaching, when he used to leave New York, I would always, teach the meditation. And when Muktananda came, he made Rudy stop doing this double breathing exercise. And nobody could understand why. I mean, because I would go down to teach when Rudy left, and I'd be wearing a long orange robe, silk robe, beautiful robe, actually. And I'd be sitting up there doing nothing. I was wondering, what the fuck am I doing here? Doing nothing, just sitting there. And then, about 3 months later, Rudy said, enough of this. We're going to go back to the double breathing exercise. But, it was, it, it's just a matter of, I mean, there's no defining this. There really is no definition for this. It's something that evolves and truly just happens because you're ready, not in your mind, because you're God's child and you're ready to transmit the Shakti and the energy in the world. I remember after that first class I taught Rudy, I met Rudy. He was happier than me. Oh, he was thrilled, full of joy and gratitude that and he told me, he said, next year at Big Indian, first I'll teach, then you'll teach, and then we'll show cartoons. I mean, I'll never forget that. It was one of the greatest teachings of my life. Don't take it seriously, Stuart. Don't take it. Being a guru is not a serious matter. It's not a position. You have to do it totally surrender to God while you do. You are a servant, and that is the best you can attain in this life. And he gave me so many lessons like that. I mean, I've told you the stories, I mean, I'm sitting in a satsang and Muktananda was talking about if you worship the guru, you will become enlightened. The guru is God, and you have to worship the guru. And Rudy is sitting right behind me, and he whispered in my ear, Stuart, the guru is not God. The best the guru can be is the servant of God and the servant of his students. I'll never forget that. If there's any teaching I ever got him that really got implanted in me, the best you can become is a servant. And it was the greatest and deepest sense of humility I'd ever heard from anybody. So if somebody wants to become a teacher, I would just advise them to stop thinking stop thinking about. And if they are supposed to, in this karma, become it, they will earn it. They will earn it. They will do whatever they have to do to get there. And it won't be because they want to be a teacher. It's because they truly understand that in order to grow spiritually, you have to be a servant of God, not a teacher, a servant of God. And this is not just semantics, it's really true. I mean, I'll never forget that person who said, I want to be a teacher. He got especially in touch with me to tell me this. And 3 weeks later, he said, I can't study with you any longer because in order to go to your classes, I have to get a COVID vaccination, and I'm against that. Okay, go study with someone else. People are incredible. And the incredible thing about that is 2 weeks later, I had a rule about coming to retreats where you don't have to have a vaccination. You just have to take a test and make sure you're not sick when you come here. Does anyone else have a question? Would like-
Well, that was great, Stuart.
Well, it's true, Pat. I mean,
Mhm.
people want an important position in life, and teaching is kind of a position. But man, when you start doing this, I mean, you think I enjoy it. It's been almost 5 years now. I've been sitting in front of a computer doing it. I mean, this is not my favorite thing to do. You understand? You got to do what you have to do to serve a higher force of energy in the universe. That. Then you teach, and you don't think about being a teacher. You just do it. I mean, I spent 9 years in Denton, Texas, for God's sake. Rudy told me, I want you to go there for 3 weeks. And I remember 6 months later, he came down to visit. And I said, Rudy, it's been a hell of a 3 weeks. He said, you're on your fourth day. Very clear understanding of how the earth was created in 7 days.
Yeah.
9 years to work out 3 weeks. Where I finally said, it's enough. I'm finished. There's nothing else I can do here. I need to go back to New York.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't want to be the head minister of an ashram. I mean, it just sounded like spend the rest of my life doing that just seemed like such a bore, you know? I needed some adventure in life. And New York provided me with adventure. I mean, within 6 months, I was traveling all over the world. I was going to India. It was unbelievable what took place. Started meeting, tons of people that were interesting people. So, I was lucky. I was made a teacher at a poker game. I just have to laugh about it. It's really a funny thing. How did you become a guru? I was made a guru at a poker game. And I'm told I can be replaced by the Roadrunner. So I better really learn how to serve God. I mean, Rudy was something. He really knew how to get right there and make you do your work. Does anyone else have a question? And it took years. I mean, I was made a teacher, and then it took 20 years to really arrive at a place where I could do this. I was always like one page ahead of all my students. And then years later, through constant doing inner work, working with so many people, you arrive at a place where you just do it out of a state of total surrender. People willing to do that, people want to be important immediately. Does anyone else have a question? I'm not trying to browbeat anybody or make you all frightened of it. I just want to talk a little bit of truth, that's all. And why pussyfoot around, what this is all about. It's not about ego. It's about surrender, service, humility, gratitude. Do this work out of gratitude because somebody made an effort to save your life. That's why I do this. I mean, I wouldn't, look, I was in an airplane with Rudy and we hit a mountain. I mean, you don't walk away from anything like that. Understand? And basically, he just put his soul force inside me, and it's how I survived.
Mm, mm.
Does anyone else have a question? I mean, this hasn't been some paid boulevard, It's been really an amazing experience, doing this. It's not so rock and roll anymore. I mean, look, I used to be when I was 40 years old, 50, I could do this stuff, all that stuff I had to do. But does anyone else have a question? I mean, if, I don't want to promote my books, but I will. If you want to read what a real relationship is between a student and a teacher, I wrote a book called Rudy. And it's an anthology of books you can get on Amazon. And it's a story of that airplane crash that he and I was in. But it's really the story of what it means to have a spiritual teacher. That's really what the story is about. What it means to have a spiritual teacher. And I suggest reading it. You can get it. The other stories are good too. The mystical ferry boat, and one called The Dancing Man. And they're just like short novels. They're written that way. But I suggest you read it. If you haven't read it, it'll give you a very deep insight in what it means to have a guru, a spiritual teacher. Does anyone else have I mean, the book is called, no, it used to be called Rudy, the Final Moment. Now it's called The Mystical Ferry Boat and Other Stories. And it's 3 novelettes, basically, a collection. It's like an anthology. Does anyone else have a question they would like? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be meditation on Monday, tomorrow.
Great.
God bless you all. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Night, Stuart. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.